Hello, everybody. It's good to be back. I thought it would be fun this time to switch from disability representation in films and typical TV shows to look at what our younger audiences tend to watch, like animated shows. More than that, I felt compelled to analyze two shows that have been coming up a lot lately, especially with people in my generation and generations below us. And so the two shows that we will be discussing today are Avatar: The Last Airbender and the sequel to it, Legends of Korra. So logically and chronologically, it would make sense to start with Avatar: The Last Airbender. There is one character who probably comes to mind immediately if you are someone who has watched the show, and that would be of Toph Beifong. Toph is an earthbending master, and eventually she discovers metal bending, which is pretty amazing and had never been done. Toph was born blind and raised by pretty overprotective parents who always treated her as though she was very fragile and incapable of ever taking care of herself or doing anything really for herself. Viewers can see that deep down, Toph wants something bigger for her life. Something more than the coddled and sheltered life that was all that she knew. When she was 6, Toph ran away from home and she hid in a cave. And in that cave, she met badger moles, earthbending badger moles who are also blind. While she can't, let's say, read a wanted sign, which was a scene that actually happened, she can anticipate her opponent's moves before they even strike just from the vibrations in the ground. Toph is definitely a character that the disabled youth can look up to because she becomes a model of resilience and bravery, and even better, she is this complex, multifaceted person who has layers to them like any of us do. And while Toph may come off to viewers as slightly rough around the edges, you can see that throughout the show, Toph always ends up being there for her friends who become like her family. Another character who might come to mind is Tio, a non-bender who was injured as a child by the Fire Nation and now uses a wheelchair. Viewers only get to see Tio, however, in one episode. However, this episode does allow viewers to see a society in which things are inherently built with disability in mind. His father, an inventor, discovered that the air nomads had invented gliders to fly through the sky with the help of airbending. Inspired and wanting to give his son a way to move, Tio's father created a glider that a non-airbender could use. Viewers have even noticed that the father has built the infrastructure of the mountain with disability in mind, not just with the gliders, but with elevators throughout the mountain so that anyone can get around. So again, like I said, this show really portrays how a character, these very complex, multifaceted characters, face adversity and overcome obstacles and grow. And they have moments of weakness, like all of us, and they have moments where they prevail. The next two characters have exhibited signs of various psychological or mental disabilities. I do want to acknowledge, though, that I am not a licensed psychologist or psychiatrist, but over the years of fans watching this show, there are many people who find the characters of Zuko and Korra to be afflicted with some sort of trauma, anxiety, and even depression. When it comes to Zuko, his father was the Fire Lord Ozai, and he was a very, very frightening father, to say the least. When Zuko refuses to fight the Fire Lord, his own dad, this was perceived as a weakness, and his dad literally set his face on fire as punishment, leaving that infamous scar over his left eye. And then to make matters worse, he sent his son into exile and banished him. Throughout his journey, Zuko is often seen having flashbacks in response to certain events or triggers due to his history of abuse by both his father and his older sister. It is possible, and there are signs showing that Zuko could have post-traumatic stress disorder, often thought away of as an angsty teen who, belonging to the Fire Kingdom, has a lot of inability to control his anger. Zuko is another character whose growth is one that can be really appreciated. Zuko is something like a morally gray character. Morally gray characters aren't necessarily full-on villains, and they're not your traditional heroes either. But that's what makes them more relatable and more real, doesn't it? Life isn't always so black and white, and neither are the morality of our actions. It is always difficult to do what is right, and morally gray characters show distinct human qualities when faced with these internal and external conflicts. And then there's Korra. Korra's PTSD presents itself in a multitude of ways. And spoiler alert, without giving too much away, at the end of book 3, Korra is attacked and she is poisoned because someone is trying to forcibly push her into the Avatar state and then kill her. Because if an Avatar was to be killed while in the Avatar state, it would not only kill them, but end the entire Avatar line. Though Korra survives this event, it's clear that it stays with her, and it stays with her for a long time. In the beginning of book 4, Korra seems to be very tense and on edge, avoiding those who are close to her. More than that, she's haunted by frequent flashbacks, and even has these hallucinations of an evil version of herself that's, in her mind, trying to attack her. I think this is an important point of discussion when it comes to victims and survivors struggling a lot with self-blame and feeling just shame and internalizing a lot of their trauma. A lot of times a person could wonder, was there something else I could have done? Is this my fault? Am I the reason that this happened to me? I think that was kind of the point, was to show Korra's inner conflict with herself, physically manifesting as this great fear and monster. Symptoms of PTSD actually need to persist over a month in order to be officially diagnosed. And in the time between book 3 and book 4, Korra has been having these symptoms of PTSD for over 3 years. Viewers watch as Korra goes to therapy, physical therapy, and struggles to walk again. Korra actually decides to visit the man who attacked her in prison, and as is done with exposure therapy, he suggested that Korra face her fears and her worst memories rather than run away from them. And when asked whether she would ever be able to forget what had happened to her, she replied, "No, but I'm finally able to accept what happened, and I think that's what's going to make me stronger."